Hello, friends. My name is Aslam Sheikh, your host for this evening. I'm a founder and CEO of Aleph, a platform to promote the global perspective of education and career. This is our 74th career talk and broadcasted live on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Every Friday, we aim to bring in the valuable speakers to discuss the topic that is important for you and for your career. And those who are joining us first time, let me quickly introduce you who we are. So, Aleph was named as among the top 10 most recommended overseas education consultants by the Insight Success last year. This year, we've been rated as one of the top global education leaders. We have counseled over 23,000 students in last over 12 years, and we offer our students an options of 200 plus universities across 14 plus countries. So, with this short introduction, let's move on to our today's topic. And today's topic is Zara Hatke, which is very much going to talk from the admissions and scholarship point of view, that why do some people fail while some people gain easily into admission into a foreign university. So today's topic is how to write an impressive statement of purpose, which is commonly called SOP, or some university may choose to call an essay as well. And to discuss this exciting subject, we have with us an expert speaker, and let me do the honor of introducing him. Hi, Manshu. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Aslam. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much for your time. And let me quickly introduce you to our audience. So, Imanshu is a expert international higher education advisor. He served in the U.S. Department of State's Education USA program. His students reach MIT, Harvard, Cornell, Columbia, to IIT, IIM, ISB, and many other reputed names. He was a lecturer at the University of North Carolina, USA, after completing a master's in international studies from the same university on full scholarship. And I'm sure, Himanshu, your SOP must have worked very importantly into your entire application process. And definitely, we are get to go learn from you as well. And Himanshu is, of course, is currently an advisor to various top schools, universities, government, and organizations across the world. So, with this short introduction, let's begin today's show. So, friends, if you have any question, do write into the comment box or into the comment column of your respective platform wherever you are accessing this show, and we'll be happy to take any query if it is possible within the time limit. Though we have got very important 8 questions already drafted for Himanshu. So, let's begin. So, friends, we'll turn to know SOP, but just to give you the introduction, actually it's called that SOP is a golden ticket to your dream university. It's not just a ticket for admission, it can also be a ticket to get you very handsome scholarship, and which help you to save on a lot of money onto your tuition. So, with this short introduction, let's try to learn from Himanshu, who is also, apart from being the higher education expert, is also an SOP expert. And we have Himanshu on Aleph board to help our student as well. Let's learn from Himanshu. Himanshu, first of all, the audience or the students, parents who are listening to you and who just aspire to go abroad, they don't know much about the process. They would want to know what is this SOP is all about and why it is intended in the admission process. Himanshu.
Right. Thank you, Aslam. So, to introduce the importance of it first, I don't want to define it first. To show the importance of it, what is the importance? Especially when we talk about India. So last year we had like 1.6 lakh students who scored 90% and above in just CBSE. This year, that number went up to 2.25 lakh students who got 90% and above, and that is just CBSE. When we talk about the state board, when we talk about ISC board, when we talk about so many boards in India, what I mean to say here is that getting high marks is not that difficult anymore for an Indian student. Of course, a lot of you may have it difficult, but then where the importance comes is here. Then when we talk about IELTS, TOEFL, SAT, any other tests, again, with the efforts of various educators, students are able to score very high, and also the students are very tech savvy and they are able to score very high on these tests. Now, how will the universities rate that whether you are an exceptional student or not? So the value of SOP or the essay or the personal statement over the last 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, if you say, you know. So I think Harvard University, which is like the prime name all over, I think told me that around 30 40 years ago there was no SOP for even for them, right? It
Okay.
was very mark centric. So now when we come to 2021, and a lot of you would be working towards 22, 23, 24, the importance of talking about yourself, talking about the fit, talking about the life which you had, talking about your technical evolution, talking about your professional evolution. Now I'm coming to the structure of it, is becoming very, very important. Why do you want to join that university is important. Why they should take you is important. Why are you worthy enough for admission is important. Why are you worthy enough for scholarship is important. So that's why this written part, 1 page or 1.5 page, has become more and more important year by year, and it will continue to be unless we create some new technology to understand this. So this is the importance of SOP, I would say.
Absolutely. So, what Himanshu is trying to educate us, friends, is that it's not only the marks which are going to be the indicator of you being a bright student for that particular university or deserving student for that university. It's an SOP, which is a piece of paper which we are going to dissect more into detail as we go further, is equally very important aspect of your personality, wherein you are physically not there in front of the university. This is another way they can judge you well for the admissions. Thank you, Himanshu. So naturally, the next question comes, Himanshu, that if SOP is so much important, so before going into the structure, what would you say that what are the different advantages of writing a good SOP? What student would derive from submitting that along with the application?
Right. So there are two, three things here. First, that I talked about, that students are scoring very high. A 95 percenter is there, but then when you see there are 90,000 students sitting with you who are 95% also, right?
Yeah.
Then how do you outstand among them, right? On the other side, some of you would be thinking that I'm talking about 95%, 90%, but I've got only 70%. What do I do? Now, again, for you, there is this chance that again, if you have to work on this, how will you be able to beat? So let's say you are a 70 percenter. How can you beat a 75 percenter, 80 percenter, 85 percenter, 90 percenter, 95 percenter? It is possible. It is possible through the story. Let's say I study at a very privileged school in Bombay, right? On the other side, you or anyone comes from certain background. You studied in vernacular medium, your parents have had limited means, you struggle to understand even English, right? And now you are topping in various exams. You are topping your computer science, although marks were a little less in English, but you are at 75, you are at 80. In math you try to work on. So if you talk about all this, right? On the other side, there are students who are not high scorers. A topper, we say, is a scorer, but not really.
Right.
I'll give example to you. It is a lengthy example, so I'll take about a minute or so to give you this example, but it will give you a lot of idea into it. What is it? Let's say you have a lot of backlogs in your engineering curriculum, right? To understand, backlogs are the papers which you fail and you drag them to the next semester. I can
Right.
talk at length about the stories. So there was a student who had 25 backlogs, right?
Oh.
Right? And right now he's heading a department at Fiat Chrysler. Before that, he was working at BMW. And I would say, and he would say, that he got in only and only and only because of the SOP. Why? Because when he was not studying, the question is, when he was not studying for exams, what was he doing? Right? So he
Hmm.
was a mechanical engineer. He was spending time in the workshop, right?
Hmm.
He was trying to make a car, he was trying to make his hands dirty, so he was not studying. Now, how will
Oh.
you talk about it? Because unless you get a national award for making a car, you can't really talk about it. You can't say I was just spending time, because that is wasting time. Unless you are successful, the time is called wasted. But then universities are willing to listen to your story, that actually when I was failing in exams, I was spending time in the workshop trying to create, build, or do something on a car, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Universities listen to this. So, this is
Wow.
an opportunity for the topper students also, and the students who say that ये जो topper है, मैं इससे better हूँ. How do
Hmm.
you do this? You can do this only through, see, unless you get a chance to interview, but not
Yeah.
everybody gets a chance to interview. But how can you say this? कि ये जो topper है ना, मैं इनसे better हूँ. How will
Hmm.
you say that? You will say that through the SOP. So this is how you see the value of it.
I derive a lot of encouragement from this story, and I'm sure that many of the students would be encouraged to dream big, just relying on to this piece of paper which called SOP. So, friends, what Imanshu is saying, so it's not only just to help you to get admission scholarship if you're a topper, if you come from a decent marks, but also if you are struggler as an academic student, but you have got some other skills, some other extra curricular activities or profile of your personality which you think shines out and which needs to be spoken to the university. So SOP is a platform which allows you to do so. Thank you, Imanshu. That's very, very worth noting. So let's move on to this conversation further and now get on to SOP. So many students struggle. They refer a lot of formats which are available on the websites. And even myself, if I do research, I get confused because there are so many different opinions exist on Google platform or any platform to follow any particular format. So you being the expert, you being the full scholarship students by yourself, what's the success or secret formula or recipe you would call it to structure SOP in a right way?
Right. So first thing I will tell you what not to do. One thing is that I will appreciate that you don't ask for old students sample SOP from me
Mm.
or Aslam or any of us, right? And when I say do not try for it, that does not mean you go online and search for it, right? Because when you are searching something online, just imagine you search best statement of purpose on Google. What
Yeah.
will come out will have already been seen by millions of students from Bombay, from India, from Nigeria, from Mexico, from Australia, right? That same sample, which is tagged as the best SOP, has been
Hmm.
already being seen for last various years. Maybe it was uploaded
True.
7 years ago, right? Every year, let's say 1 million students see it, right? So 7 million students have already seen it. So you are after that. So generally speaking, it doesn't work like that. When I used to do physical talks on this, I would go to various engineering colleges and around IITs, NITs, and other colleges. I would showcase. I would pick up a book like this. That okay, this is an SOP accepted by your dream university, right? And this is an SOP rejected by your dream university. Which one would you want to read, right? And of course, there are various reasons why you would want to read an accepted one. So you will want to read the accepted one because you think it is a good one, but that is already accepted. So that idea is already sold, right? On
Right.
the other side, it is rejected, but you don't know why it was rejected, whether the starting was bad, or the words were bad, or the story was not compelling, or it was a copy of SOP. We don't know
Hmm.
why it was rejected. So, generally speaking, we cannot come to this. The best way, and this is what is happening in last few years when technology is becoming much more accessible, because we all go online to search for a solution. Whether we have to
Right.
be successful, we search online. We have to be failure, we search online. Whatever we want to do, we go on the same Google, right? And same Google cannot create answers for you all the time, right? So what you have to
Correct.
do is see inward. So I'll come now to the title, statement of purpose, right? So you have to make a statement, right, of your purpose. So what is your purpose? What is your goal, right? What is your goal? What is your purpose of coming to the university? What is your
Hmm.
purpose to take up this career? What is your purpose or idea of your success? Like, the cliche
Right.
question, where do you see yourself 5 years down the line or 10 years down the line? It is an important question. Just the way it is asked is not a good idea. So it is
Hmm.
highly unpredictable. 5 years ago, nobody knew that in 2021 we would be at this stage, right? But
Right.
that does not mean the people who were planning, they went all berserk. It's not like that. So what I mean to say here is that it is important to start fresh. And I have a formula for you, which I am giving away here. You
Wow.
all know about the sports brand Puma. You all
Yeah.
heard about Puma. This is an acronym which will help you design a good SOP, essay, or any piece of writing which you are writing to a university or a letter which you are writing. Follow this PUDA, PUDA, PUDA. P,
PUDA. Okay.
yeah, P is personal, U for unique, D for detailed, A for authentic. Personal, unique, detailed, authentic. Now I'll elaborate a little bit. Personal here does not mean you talk about your personal stuff. You talk about your girlfriend, you talk about your boyfriend, you talk about your secrets. No. Personal means if I am talking here and if I say I am an educationist, I work in education industry. Aslam can also say that. So it's not very personal. If I
Right.
know, right? If I know that this will fit very well with my friend, then it's not personal, right? That's what I mean by personal. Means if it should have your own DNA. Every line which you write in the SOP should have your own DNA. If it fits very well to your friend also, try applying it. My name is Himanshu, my friend's name is Aslam. If it is applied very easily to Aslam also, right? Then it's not
Correct.
personal, right?
It's
Then
not.
I say unique, especially from India. If you talk about cricket, if you talk about Bollywood, if you talk about knowing two languages, it's not unique for an Indian, right? Even knowing three languages is not unique. Living in three different cities is also not very unique. Knowing people from three religions is also not unique. So these things are not unique in India because we come from a very diverse culture. So it's not unique. You need to find that uniqueness in your profile. Then we talk about details. Detail here means go beyond your resume. We need more details. Let's say I'll give example of yoga. Let's say do you do yoga? You say I do yoga. Then don't say I do yoga for relaxation and generally. Don't say the general stuff. We need the
Yeah.
details. We need the details. Do you do yoga daily? Do you do yoga in the morning or in the evening? What do you wear? Do you do in AC? Do you do in heat climate? Do you do with other people? Do you do personally? How long have you been doing it? Right? So even for the
Right.
very simple thing, you can have various things about it. And then we talk
Correct.
about authentic. Let's say you say I am star of Bombay, right? There should be some authenticity to it. Maybe you believe that you are a star, right? But there should be some authenticity to it. So remember PUDA, personal, unique, detailed, authentic, right? And that will enable your SOP to have your own DNA.
Wow.
Now,
I
back to
think
you.
that's a secret recipe what Himanshu has shared. And thanks to him, I shared with you guys on your comment box. So look at this reference. So PUDA, personal, unique, detailed, and authentic. That's the mantra of being the successful students having a very, very innovative way of writing SOP. Thank you very much, Himanshu. I'm sure that our listeners would take this forward and it will help them immensely. Friends, in case if you need any further help, because many times even after knowing many things you would need a mentor to help you, to handhold you to write a very successful SOP, do not hesitate to contact us or any of our counselor. The screen number is there on the front of your screen. We will be happy to assist you and help you, and in fact even also connect you to Himanshu to write your next SOP. So Himanshu, we move further. So when a small question is here, that what's the standard length or size of the SOP should be according to you?
Right. So I would give few ideas here. First, if there is a word limit, you know, follow it strictly. And when I say follow it strictly means if it is 650 words, do not write 651. And I would say do not write 500 also because you're missing a
Hmm.
chance. Somebody is giving you an opportunity to write 650 words. I would say let it be ideal at 650 or 649 or 646. Try to be closest to it. So first is just try to see whether there is a word limit or not. In
Okay.
the UK system, there is a line limit. There is no word limit. They say it should be so many lines,
Hmm.
right? So just follow whatever it is. Sometimes it is character driven. It says so many
Hmm.
characters. It will say so many characters with spaces, so many
Hmm.
characters without spaces, whatever it is. First thing is try to follow whatever it is. Now, coming to if there is no word limit given.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, for masters, what I recommend is 1.25 page to 1.5 page for a master's student, one full page, which is about 500 words, and then maybe 250 words more, about 750 words. So a master's SOP could be anything from 700, 750 words to maybe 1000 words if you have a lot of things to write. So
Right.
ideally 1.5 page or 1.25 page, something like this. For a bachelor student, I would say not more than one page. It could be 0.75 page or zero point 0.8 page, which is about 400, 500, maximum 600, 650 words kind. So
Okay.
if you talk about words, it would be 500 to 650 words, or maybe less also sometimes for bachelors. And then for masters, I would say 750 to 1000 is a good way. And then generally speaking, when you look at the page, a 0.75 page or a one page, I would say not go beyond one page for a bachelor's student. And
Okay.
then when it is a PhD, of course, you can go a little further.
A little
But
bit.
then if you know that you need to talk about more things, like that
Hmm.
student who had 25 backlogs, you know,
Hmm.
I recommended that student to spend at least one full page to write technical synopsis of his work. We talked, so that
Hmm.
was the lengthiest SOP which I advised ever. But those were
Okay.
extreme circumstances, because my record is, of course, that was broken later. Later on, I advised a 26 backlog student also. But then this was 25 backlog, which is a poster story. So what I say here is ideal is this.
Yeah.
But then, of course, it has to be good concrete. One more tip
Absolutely.
about this itself is, when you start to write, do not look at the word limit only. When you start to write, let the thoughts flow. So if you have to
Hmm.
write a 700 word SOP, write 1000, 1100, 1200, write more. Because
Hmm. Hmm.
thinking, writing, and then editing is a different process, right?
Correct.
So you may say
Correct.
the same things, like the things which I said, whatever time I took. If I say something in 5 minutes, if I edit it, it could be said in 3 minutes also.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
even somebody like me who is speaking very carefully, right? Even my things should be edited and could be definitely edited from 5 minutes to 3 minutes. you know
3 minutes.
so
Right.
that's what
Right.
I would recommend. Follow the
Absolutely.
word limit, but do not follow the word limit in the first draft.
First off. Right.
Right,
Absolutely.
that's what I
I
say.
think it's a very, very important piece of information coming in from Himanshu. Himanshu, thank you very much for being so informative and so insightful. A lot of things I also learned today from you. So, friends, just to summarize very clearly, is that look at the word limit if it is being described by the university, so that at least you know where to benchmark your SOP. But initial draft, let it be free flow of your thinking, writing, and then when you come down to the third part, as Himanshu suggests, of editing, that time you can bring it down to the nearest possible number figures of what is expected out of you by the university. Thanks, Himanshu. Thank you very much for this information. Another question comes on the similar ground that most of the time students apply to multiple universities just to take extra chance with the options, and then it may be very taxing for the students that to do all this exercise of thinking, writing and editing for one university and then multiply this to other universities. So in these circumstances, what do you suggest? Should he take one and apply to others, or should he make some changes in other as well?
See, most of the time students, I understand they don't have that much time, but I have seen, and I have seen that a lot of times students do not even change the name of the university. There have been instances where, let's say, you are applying to University of Wisconsin, right? And after that you apply to University of Maryland. And if you talk to the university, because I talk to universities a lot, University of Maryland would tell me that actually a student wrote to us that my favorite and my dream university is University of Wisconsin. Now it is up to us. It is up to us. How do we deal with this student? I know that it is a mistake. I know we can forgive the student for this, right? But do not put the university application readers in this dilemma or in this uncomfortable situation that they are Maybe they studied at Maryland. Maybe they worked there for last 20 years. I know somebody who has been working at a university for last 60 years, you know,
Wow.
at one of my my university for last 60, because they don't retire at US universities, right? So what I say not to do is, do not be so busy that you don't get time to even change the name of the university. Having
Right.
said that, I understand. So generally speaking, what I recommend is that, because your goals, your technical evolution. So before that, I would tell the structure a little bit. If there is no indications or guidelines by the university, generally speaking, what I would recommend is, and again, we can share a handout for that if needed later on. But then something which I would recommend is, few years ago, people used to start with a quote, right? Now it's not the best way. You know, do not start with a quote. That is a
Mm.
old cliche,
Old
and
style.
that trend is gone. Don't do
Yeah.
that. Start with your own unique introduction. Who are you? It is difficult. So generally, I recommend students not to write the first paragraph first. We will do it
Mm.
later, right? Second paragraph, third paragraph, fourth paragraph are much easier, right? Second paragraph, which I recommend, is your technical evolution. Let's say you are an engineer. So how did you evolve? What did you do in the first year? What did you do in the second year? Which projects you did? Which internships you did? Which skills which you learned? So your technical evolution, very technical, right? That could be the second paragraph. The third paragraph could be, you know your professional and leadership evolution. How did you
Mm.
evolve as a human? How did you evolve as a leader? Things like that. Then we come to, what is your purpose, what is your goal, right? So generally speaking, these three could be common.
Mm.
But then when you come to the university part, how will you achieve these goals with the university, right? That's where I want your strong uh, impact to the university. That, okay, I told you about my journey, I told you about my technical stuff, I told you about my professional stuff, I told you about my goals. But now, you here means the university. So you, the university, and the department, and the professors, and the people there, will help me achieve my goals.
Mm.
That's where you have to customize. So generally
Mm.
speaking, you have to customize minimum one paragraph,
Okay.
but you may customize two paragraphs also. So generally 5, 6, 7 paragraphs which you write, I would highly recommend customizing one paragraph minimum, and maybe 1.5 to 2 paragraphs as well. So you have
Okay.
to find a midway. Do not be too lazy, do not be too busy, and of course you can't spend all the time writing SOP only.
Absolutely. I think that's a savior for a lot of students with this answer. You would save a lot of time. And thank you, Manshu, for sharing this very important secret of multiplying the efforts and multiplying the SOP to multiple universities without making such a silly mistake, which you very rightly pointed out. That at least check that same university name is not being repeated across the other SOPs, but try to be genuine, being authentic, taking from your PUDA, that at least change that SOP, that part of SOP which suggests or which connects you and your previous background with your aspirational through that university. So how do you want to see your journey with X university, with Y university, and Z university? This is where Imanshu is saying that that part of SOP needs to be changed. Thank you very much, Imanshu. So we have got just 2 minutes left. So we'll quickly go into the last two questions. Is there any difference? I'm sure that this would may recall a big answer, but if you can just shorten up, that is there any difference between SOP writing for engineering course to a management course?
Right. In engineering courses, it's a lot technical. I would say the goals are also very technical. On the other side, on the management side, it's a very human aspect as well, because you are applying to manage people. Majorly, you manage people, you manage money, you would be managing. It's not a good example, but I say, for an engineer, even if you have a criminal background, it doesn't matter much, because you will be able to code the same way. You will be able to write the code. It doesn't mean that if you're not a good human being, you cannot write the best code, you cannot make the best robot. You can. So that is an extreme example, But
Yeah.
what I mean to say here is, but when you have to manage people, right? When you have to manage people, when you have to manage money, when you have to manage resources, when you are trying to showcase yourself as a manager, then your leadership skills are important. Your people skills are important. What have you done not for money is important. What have you done to showcase that you can build money for someone or somebody, right? So those things are important. So easily speaking, engineering SOP would be very technical. It could be very technical. A lot of engineers try to talk about extracurricular activities, not much needed. It is
Okay.
advisable, but if you don't have it, it doesn't matter much. On the other side, when you're applying for an MBA, you have to have some extracurriculars, you have to have some activities other than the technicalities, so
Hmm.
this is a big difference. So generally speaking, technical and management, the names themselves suggest you that this is how it should be. So MBA SOPs would need almost double to triple effort, and that's why when I do consulting, my MBA consulting is higher than MS consulting. And that is the reason,
Okay.
because you extract a lot of my blood and energy for an MBA SOP. It is a lot of work.
Absolutely. I can imagine when you're saying this, because a lot of time for us also as a student or as a professional to talk about our very technical aspects, very visible aspects, that what all things which you have learned over the period of time, it's very easy to describe. But
Right.
to take out something out of the personality and personality aspects is really, really challenging part. And I'm sure that with your guidance, students are getting into their self and taking out those type of personality. Great. So
Right.
last question, Imanshu. Uh, we know that letter of recommendation, we will keep a separate session, in fact, for the letter of recommendation, which is not the topic for today, but we are just taking a reference that it needs to be authenticated, by the university or by the ex-employer, wherever you're taking. So is there a similar way? Do we need to get our SOP authenticated by anyone, or is it just a self-signed letter or self-sent email letter?
Right. Generally speaking, SOP is your sort of letter, your letter to the university. It is more than a letter because it is like a presentation to the university. So it is completely yours. But then what I say here is that you need to get it read by different people to get a perspective. So especially it happens at the bachelor's level. So at the master's level, most of the times you copy from your friends, you copy from internet, you try to get a format from internet, you try to do it. On the other side, what happens at bachelor's level? A lot of times the father or the mother or elder sister or elder brother writes it. So once I commented on a personal statement for a bachelor student, I told the father that this essay looks a very adult like. You know, so he asked, so sir, what can we do to make it less adult like? I told him, you do not have to do anything. Let Vedant write it. It will itself take care of it. It is
Right.
looking more adult like because you are writing it. So, generally
Correct.
speaking, what I would say, let it be fresh, let it be your own SOP. But yes, getting read by multiple people, and I would say even getting read by you yourself, right? Let's say you write something, you keep it aside for 2 days. Third day, when you read it, you will find some things silly in it. You
True.
will find some things too much. You will find some things too less. So that I would say writing, reading, critiquing, all these are important. So you do not need to get it authenticated by anyone. But yes, if you really want to, and if you really don't trust your originality, just do a check, because there are different checks available online where you can check how much originality is has. There are various softwares available. You can check that how much it is original. So if it looks copied, you may say that it's not copied, it's not copied, it's not copied. But if it looks copied, because a lot of universities would authenticate it that way, they will put
Right.
it online, and then online various softwares will tell that this student's SOP is 40% original. That
Hmm.
means 60% duplicate. If your
Duplicate.
SOP is 60% duplicate, there is a high chance that the top universities will definitely reject you despite having
Hmm.
very good marks, despite having very good experience, or whatever it is.
Wow. Right. Absolutely right, Himanshu. Thank you very much for this piece of information. I guess it was very, very informative for the students and parents, and especially the last part which you mentioned, that you can self authenticate the SOP. That's the best way, and very easy and very simple tips which you suggested. In fact, I do follow whilst I write a important email. I do the same thing. I write it and then I look at it after a day, and then I see that, oh, such a silly mistakes I made myself. So what you rightly said, that can be applied, friends, to your essay writing also. And do not take the upfront suggestion from the friends or family members, because then that will adulterate your original thinking and writing. And do write if you want to have a second, third choice, or kind of a survey on your SOP. And if you trust somebody, show it. Or else, the best and easy way to guarantee you that you are in a safer hand is to consult Alif, consult us, and we'll be happy to connect you with Imanshu and help you to have your right SOP done in a way, the way university expects you to make. So thank you, Imanshu, once again for your time for today's session. We really enjoyed talking to you.
Thank you,
Okay.
Aslam, for having me. I hope this helps everyone.
Absolutely, I'm sure it will. And thank you, friends, for joining us for this session. Thank you, New Academy, for writing that it's a good advice. Certainly, definitely it is. Thank you, Rohan, for watching the show and commenting that amazing tips. Yes, you can take it and pass it to your students. I know that you deal with a lot of students. You can pass it on to them. And if they need any help for study abroad or SOP writing, you can definitely connect them to us. Thank you, friends, for watching this very interesting and very unique show of how to write an SOP impressive statement of purpose. Thank you for all the viewers. If you have any query or any question unanswered, please do not forget to call us on our helpline number. That's 9987099890, or visit our website alif.in and leave your comment in the inquiry form, and one of our experienced counselor will be instantly there to assist you. My name is Aslam Sheikh, founder and CEO of Alif, signing off with a promise to come back again the next Friday at sharp 5 p.m. with another interesting topic and with some amazingly talented speaker, enlightening you on the subject that matters to you the most. Until then, stay safe and stay excited.